Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank
Hi,
you.
good
Thank you
morning.
for being with us as we navigated some tech issues earlier this morning. It's always something today. Um,
Always something,
I'll
always
get,
something.
I know. I'll give a second just to have everyone filter in the room and also say, hello, I'm Mercedes McClure. I am a associate program manager with the Cook County government and then also the Cook County Small Business Source, the premier destination for small business entrepreneurs, owners, anyone interested in, navigating small business and small business success in particular here in Cook County. I'm very esteemed to welcome our guest today from the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, one of our 13 business support organization partners. On the call, I have Cheyenne Townsell and then also Nita Sharp. So if without any further wait, I'm going to pass it along to Cheyenne to start us off today.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm a very loud, expressive speaker, so hopefully this kind of wakes everybody up as you kind of sit down and maybe have like your second cup of coffee so far today. I'm on my third, so, well, not actually, but yes, so I am Cheyenne Townsell. I am the MBE Development Program Analyst here at Chicago MSDC. So a lot of those program and development things that I often work on I'm a part of, along with my colleague Nita Sharp, who's also on the call here. So just really quick tidbit on what CMSDC does. So mainly we work with minority-owned businesses to supply them with corporate contracts along with networking, development, things like that. So we certify, we do offer a certification based on your ethnicity to be able to gain better corporate contracts and things like that, and for you to allow to network to show the beautiful stamp that you are an MBE, a certified MBE. We also develop, so that's through a lot of programming, cohorts that we do, things like that. Then we also connect, so we do a lot of networking events, things like that, that we do, along with a litany of other different events that we do, our signature events. And then we also advocate. So we also have an input committee that helps assist MBEs as well. So we also advocate too. So those are our main pillars here. And I'm really excited to show you all the Start Smart. That is our business basics here. I'll also be able to monitor chat and questions like that at the end of the presentation. So at the end, I'll pop into chat and see any questions that we might have. But I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So really excited. So I'll go ahead and jump in here and get started. Alrighty, so what I really kind of wanted to touch on as far as this slide, because I know we're probably looking for an agenda slide and things like that. So with this list, I didn't really want to do like a strict agenda to it, especially because things are going to waver a bit depending on your industry, your size, but this checklist still kind of works for no matter your industry or business size. So every business, regardless of that size, of the industry, they need a strong foundation to be seen and trusted. Visibility is going to be really, really important for anyone just starting out here. So here's what we're going to go ahead and cover that's going to be in the session today. So we're going to cover how to show up, where your customers are searching, so that way they can find you, the essentials for establishing your business online, getting you completely set up, because this is a digital world, practical marketing strategies that are, of course, going to build that trust and that reliability with your brand. And then just some low cost tools to boost your visibility as well, because it doesn't also have to break your bank either. And then just common mistakes to avoid as you grow. Because the thing is, this is going to be a lot of trial and error, guys, to try to figure out where your credibility lies and where things sit as far as that is going to kind of adjust depending on your community, your industry, things like that. So just want to make sure that there's no more bumps in the road because there will be a couple, but I want to minimize as many bumps as possible. So hopefully by the end of this, we'll be able to strengthen your online presence so that way you kind of get going, get started, and then of course attract the right audience too. So without further ado, I wanted to talk about why visibility really matters. A lot of people think that visibility just kind of means, okay, great, you see me, I'm going to get some customers. It's not the case. Visibility takes kind of time to build over time. For example, whenever we look at a red can of pop, you're going to automatically think Coke. If you look at a blue can of pop, you're going to think Pepsi. Those things like that we want to make synonymous, mesh together, so that way it's more likely that you're going to gain customers. But customers can't engage with the business that they don't know exists. They have no idea. If they can't find you, then they can't really see you, and things like that. So being findable also kind of adds that legitimacy factor as well. There's a lot of scammy businesses out there that don't really exist and things like that. So you having a proper online presence is going to show that credibility all the way throughout. It's going to let people trust you. It's going to mesh your brand with you and build a stronger audience of people. Having an audience, I would almost go as far as to say, is almost more important than having customers, because the audience is what drives you through. That's what has your customers that are there for years and years and years. So you want to make sure to have that consistent visibility because it builds a recognition and people start to remember you and remember your name. Something that already automatically comes to mind to me as a Chicago local is going to be like Brown Sugar Bakery, for example. I can look at the logo and know exactly who that is, whether the name is on there or not. So you want to have that strong presence. It opens the door for new customers, things like that. Also collaborations too, keeping it also community based. We'll touch on that a little bit later. And then also funding opportunities too. So when you're going into a bank or you're going to SBA or anywhere really where you're looking for a loan or for a grant, showing that you have a presence already built could also help you get some money as well. So it's not also just about popularity either. There's plenty of businesses that could be side by side next to each other that might have more reviews, but one might get more customers than the other. So it's also just really important to keep that in mind as well. Visibility is really about credibility and opportunity and things like that. It's not always about who's the most popular. So I will jump into our first kind of point here. Make it easy to find you. It's really, really, really important that you claim your Google business profile. Some of you probably already know what this is. You might have already heard about it when you were Googling where to start. You might have heard about the GBP, but it needs to appear in Google. That is so, so, so important. You guys have to be claiming your business profile on Google. People cannot search you, they cannot find you, and it makes it so that if anybody wants to find you, they have to specifically look up your business name in order to be able to find you if you don't have one. So this is going to boost, of course, like I said again, your legitimacy. It's going to make it easier for customers to also be able to contact you. I'll get a little bit further down the list in just a moment, but it just makes it overall easier. So like, for example, if I'm searching up let me think of something, tacos near me. That near me is super, super important when I'm searching that up because then that near me is going to say, okay, who's within about a mile or two radius that has tacos? And if your business is not listed on there, I'm going to go right past it next to another taco place down the block. So it's extremely important that you are appearing on Google Business Profile as well as also like it's really good for like the maps too. I also like to search businesses and maps as well, so it's good on both ends. You can find it in your traditional Google app and then also in your Google Maps app. So you want to make sure that you have that there. And then I'm sure this kind of goes without saying, but you want to make sure that you have every detail about your business that's, of course, going to be in that profile, your business hours, your services, your website link, your photos, a quick, short little description about who you are and what your business is and what it entails. That makes you look professional and trustworthy. There have been so many times where I've Googled a certain business, and not only are they not on Google Business, but like when I do find a website or anything, their hours are not consistent. I can't tell when they're open, things like that. The world moves very, very fast. So I got to make sure, or you would have to make sure that when people are finding you, as long as everything is consistent, that makes it a bit easier for them to trust you and say, okay, great, I will go to this shop or I will go to this taco place, let's just say. But you can also list them on other directories too. People still use Yelp quite often. I'm not sure about Bing Places. I placed it there just in case if anyone is still using Bing Places, but Better Business Bureau is also a really good one to have. Or you can also look into your local chamber of commerce. A lot of local chambers will gladly promote or boost your business that's there. Or if you have like a village type of agency, like Village of Homewood, something like that along those lines, you could also make sure to reach out to them and put your business listings there. And again, keep everything consistent. Very, very important. And in that next point, your NAP also again needs to be consistent. It should be the same across your social media. It should be the same across your website. It should be the same across your Google Business Profile, your NAP. So that's your name, address, and phone number. It should be very, very easy to contact you. Now, I do know that a lot of my clients kind of have this issue with Google Business Profile where they often can't find a way to properly verify their address if they have a home address or if they use a digital address. So I want to make this really clear for you all. If you guys do use this, Google allows you to make a service area. So that way it kind of like hides the physical address. Let's say, for example, you sell body butters on the south side of Chicago and you don't want to put your specific home address in there because you make it inside of your home. That's not a problem. That service area will still be able to ping. For example, if you say, hey, I live over in South Shore and I make body butters, when you make your Google business profile, when I'm in the area and I need body butter, it can still ping and go to you. Or it'll also make mention that, hey, this is a purely online business and I would just buy through your link, so on and so forth. But the really important thing is that you want to avoid using PO boxes. Google does not recognize a PO box as any form of address at all, whether it's digital or not. So adding, if you have like a digital PO box that like you're using, you might want to consider maybe going to like a WeWork. You might want to be able to use one of their addresses. WeWork is kind of like a co-working type of space you can use, or see about purchasing a digital address. That's going to be a lot more important to use than a PO box because Google's not going to be able to recognize it and you'll be stuck in the verification kind of queue there and you won't be able to move forward with the actual Google business profile. So you just really want to make sure if anybody is using a digital or home address to not use a PO box and just use a service area. But of course, we can chit chat about that a bit later because I'll also have my information up at the end for any questions that you guys might have too, to dig a bit deeper into any of these topics, by the way. All right, so we're going to jump into owning your online real estate. So that's super, super important. Your website is your digital storefront. It is everything that is about your business that's going to be there. The social media will not be able to show. You have a website. I've had a couple of clients ask me before, do I really need one? I could probably just do it on social media if I wanted to. It's not a website where everything is going to be shown here. And there's a lot of really quick ways. You'll see kind of further down on that slide some different platforms that you can use where it's really, really easy to actually set up a website, probably in like an afternoon if you really have the time. But what you kind of want to do first with that website is, of course, secure your domain name. That is so, so important because once you purchase it and once you buy it, you can then transfer it between platforms. That is yours. So it's really, really important that you kind of grab a domain name, look into your budget, see how much that's going to kind of cost for you, and then when you use it for your site, you're also going to want to make a professional email using that same thing. A lot of these platforms down below intertwine your professional email and your actual website together. So, for example, if you were using Squarespace and your business is, of course, made and used through Squarespace, you can actually make a business email through that same website. So, like, for example, info@yourbusiness.com, whatever the case may be. So that way people can easily reach you. And also that way you don't have anything skewed in between your personal email and your business email because you really want those to be separate organizational wise too. It doesn't have to be a big website either. You just kind of need like key pages. So of course your home, that's going to be a really quick summary about what you offer. Of course, your about page to kind of see who you are, what you do, put a face to a name. And of course, those services or those products, depending on what you're doing, you know, details on how you're doing your pricing, if you offer a service as opposed to a product, things like that. Of course, adjusting it for your business in that industry. And then, of course, your contact, how people can book with you or make a consultation or purchase a product from you. And you want to make sure that these things are mobile friendly. Oh my goodness. I'm not really looking through a website on my desktop most of the time. If we're really talking about outside of like the 9 to 5, it's mainly on my phone. And that's the same thing with your consumers. They're mainly going to be looking at your website through their phone more than likely, especially if they found you through the Google app. They'll be able to find you, things like that. You want to make sure that it's mobile friendly and like visually clean. Now for the platforms, I just want to make a quick mention of this. If you guys are going to use Shopify, because you'll see it right there at the bottom of that screen, using Shopify is mainly for product-based businesses. It's not that great if you're like an interior designer, things like that. If you have like a tiered list of pricing, those products are going to be much better for you. Um, Wix and Squarespace anyway, as opposed to Shopify. Shopify is mainly just for online based. I'm working out of my house, product-based businesses. So just to keep that aware. But shop around, take a look. Feel free. They often, all of them offer free trials. You can take a quick look to kind of see if you like them, see if you don't, and kind of play around with like the templates, things like that. Make it look nice. Your website is pretty much like your digital home. So it's a big deal. And then I just kind of want to jump into social media presence that fit. A lot of people, when they first start out with their business, they want to do every single platform. I want to do Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, and everything along those lines and everything underneath the sun. Not necessarily the case. So, like, for example, if you're a business that does business consulting and things like that, and you mainly work in a very professional corporate sector, you should probably be on LinkedIn and Facebook, and that's probably kind of it that you need to be on. Versus if you're like a nail tech or you do eyebrows or you're an esthetician, you might want to go onto TikTok or Instagram, especially those like more visually needed type of businesses where you're showing your work often. Instagram and TikTok for sure, especially if your demographic is a bit younger, TikTok for sure. So you kind of want to get about 1 to 2 main platforms to be able to build that consistency. And also, so that way you're not spreading yourself too thin because posting is a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into making that type of content. So you want to make sure that you're kind of really focusing on 2 main platforms to kind of see how they operate. And then to also kind of see how the algorithm moves, what your demographics are, so that way you can make data-driven, informed decisions and things like that. So that's really important. Of course, keeping your profile clear and professional. This is a really, really big thing on social media. Guys, it's really, really important that we are not doing anything inappropriate or anything unprofessional on our business pages. And if you are using your personal as your business page for social media, separate them right now. Pretty please. I don't even mind if you look away for a second as you make another Instagram page, another TikTok. Please do. Because the thing is, those opinions that you might have or something that you might have shared could easily rub somebody the wrong way. You never know. And then that's going to be attached to your brand, which isn't going to be very fun. So we've all kind of seen it before on a corporate level. We've seen, some people say some unsavory things on the internet that kind of hurts the brand over time. So you want to make sure that you have 2 separate um, social media pages for those things. On your business social media page, use a consistent logo. Play around in Canva for a little bit. Canva has a bunch of different logos that you can choose from. You can watch some YouTube videos on them. If any of you would like any tutorials on anything, whether that be Wix, Squarespace, Canva, anything, I have a litany. I have a nice little playlist on my separate YouTube channel that's specifically for small business owners. I have no problem sharing that with you all to kind of get an idea on how to use Canva, how to use any of the platforms that I've mentioned today. So that's no problem. And then, of course, a quick short bio, kind of stating who you are, what your business is, all of that great stuff. And of course, including a link to your website and to your business page. Of course, you can use Linktree. Linktree is great because you can kind of put multiple links on there. I know not every single social media platform lets you put a lot of links on there. Like, for example, I know that Instagram lets you put up like, think about up to like 4 or 5, but not every other platform works that way. So you want to make sure that you have at least some sort of link tree or something like that that'll link back to your website as you're kind of noticing everything connects to each other. If that kind of makes sense. But you also want to share any content that just kind of includes value. You don't want to mainly just do like promotional products because it's going to feel like an ad. We already have a lot of different ads in our life. I'm sure as you open up your phone, you probably saw an ad the first couple of minutes when you opened it. Every single app has an ad, just ads all over the place. And if you're kind of just only promoting things, which kind of makes sense, I get it, it's your business. But you kind of want to add a little bit more into it, especially just starting out. You want to build a little bit more personality since you're a small business. So that could be any educational post about anything that you're talking about. If you're an accountant and you offer tax services, now would be a great time because people are going to start getting their W-2s and that's going to roll in and you kind of want to help navigate that. You can make a post about that. If you have any like behind the scenes photos, if you're a chef, we want to see you cook. We want to see how does the magic happen? How does the sausage get made? A lot of people tend to have that interest. And we're going to touch a bit more on testimonials or examples of your work a bit later. But again, testimonials, even if it's like family, things like that, collect as many of those as you can, whether it's a video, It could be someone's email that you could put into text, that you could see my hair's doing a crazy thing, that you could put into text as well. There's a lot of different ways to grab a testimonial nowadays. Any Google reviews that you have from your Google business page would be great, things like that. Again, just to show that consistency and also authenticity. That's what's really going to matter more when it comes to posting too. So if you're just making like 50 posts all at the same time and you're posting them all at the same time and it's just kind of like going and going and going, you kind of want to have a bit more of a softer schedule, maybe a couple of times a week, maybe once a week, things like that. Play with the ebbs and flows kind of as you navigate that particular platform. Because sometimes, maybe for example, on Facebook, it might be a bit better if you only post about 2 times a week versus Instagram, where you have to post 4 times a week. You just kind of have to play around with your analytics and your numbers, and also be sure that you're looking at that. But if you're ever like Cheyenne, I have no idea what analytics to look at. Again, my info will be at the end so we can chat about that a bit deeper. Or if you have any questions, just feel free to drop that in the chat. But it's really, really important that you want to find your platform that fits well for you. And then, of course, making it easy to contact you is also super, super important. Um, it's really, really important that you want to streamline this process and you want to make sure that it's easy for people to contact you. We live in a world right now where everything is streamlined. I can probably do most things in about 3 steps or less. So I always like to say, try to have it in about 3 steps or less for people. Because once we kind of have a bit more steps, it gets a bit complicated. Maybe my mind went somewhere else. Maybe my dog's doing something and I can't really think about it. Oh, there you go. You're out of my brain now. And I've forgotten about you, unfortunately. So you want to make sure that everything is streamlined, and you want to make sure that your consumer can easily access you. That's super, super important. If you can on your website, put clickable links on there for your phone number, for your booking links, things like that. That's super important so that way they can just get to you quickly. Because typically for me, if I like your business and I want something from your business to purchase, I make that decision in about like 30 seconds or so. Okay, great. Where can I book? Where can I buy? And if it gets difficult at that point, I won't worry about it because convenience is kind of what's been running over people's minds nowadays. As long as it's convenient, they'll do it. But if it's not convenient, it won't work. So you want to make sure that all of your contacts work as well. If you changed a phone number, make sure you update it across all platforms. If you changed your email, same thing. Make sure that everything's connected and that everything works regularly. And then give quick responses. Try to shoot, because I can't speak for every industry, but try your best to shoot for about 24 to 48 hours. If you're a real rock star and you can do it in less than 24, great. This kind of depends on your industry and what you're doing in your person. But you want those to be quick, professional responses, and that way you can build trust with your audience and also with your consumers as well. And then we're just gonna chit chat really quick about getting reviews, testimonials, things like that. As I mentioned earlier, it is a word of mouth. It's a modern word of mouth. I look at the reviews sometimes before I even look at the product of what it is. We've all been on Amazon and we've seen something that we're like, I have these 2 products that are here. One says about 1.5, one says about, okay, 3.9. All right, let me see how many it is. You kind of scroll through the reviews. We all care about reviews. Everybody cares about a review. So it's really important that you're asking satisfied guests who are happy for reviews, like right after their experience, if you can. If you can get that survey out, if you can say, hey, please leave me a review, things like that. I do it all the time for local businesses in my area, just to kind of help them out. It's a quick way to help them out. If you want to add some sort of incentive, you absolutely can. That could be a discounted item, or that could be really anything, any promotions that you might have going on. And then, of course, you want to focus on those platforms that kind of make the biggest impact across the internet, which is always going to be that Google, Facebook reviews, Yelp, and anything that's like industry specific, which is going to dip a bit deeper into Better Business Bureau. But anything like those types of websites where people can see you across the board, as a good solid business. Hey, I have 3.5 stars, or hey, I have 4.1 stars. Anything that's going to showcase that on like a grand scheme is going to be super, super important for you. And then of course pick some good strong testimonials. I personally like the ones that are a couple of sentences. I don't mind that. I'll read it because I think that it's important for me to know what really works with your business, or what really, okay, why does this person trust you and why should I trust you? So feel free to pick some strong ones on your website to kind of highlight. Like I said before, if you can get a video, awesome, but text works just as good. And then respond to all feedback, whether it's good, whether it's bad, because even if it's good, when it's good, okay, great. That shows that, yep, this is a happy customer. You handled this respectfully and professionally, and it'll be the exact same thing when it's a bad review. People want to see how you handle when reviews are bad too. That's also really important because that's also gonna kind of make the customer think in the back of their brain, okay, so if I ever have an issue with your product or your service, you'll handle this respectfully and professionally. This is also going to go back into what I mentioned earlier about your social media presence. Please, please, please do not go back and forth with that bad reviewer on social media. Please, I beg of you, because people will begin to poke holes, people will begin to ask questions, and if that customer has better receipts on the situation than you do, it will hurt your business and it will wind up looking really unfortunate on your end. So make sure the entire whole way through, almost interact with a bad review like everyone is watching. And make sure that you are being professional, that you are being respectful, and that you are offering a proper solution. Because any potential customer is going to say, okay, well, how did you handle this and what are you going to do? Are you going to, effectively make sure that I'm still satisfied at the end, or will you be dismissive? So all those things are really, really important. I've gone I've looked at certain restaurants and said, okay, I would like to go here, but looking at how they just treated this other customer on TikTok, I'm probably not going to go there because they weren't professional. So all those things are really, really important, to show that you also can understand criticism, and then have that proper credibility and integrity with your audience. So all those things are also important. And then another stream of course, marketing and communication is going to be the SMS or texting, which I like to refer to it as, just means texting, and also your email marketing as well. So the only other thing that I like to make sure that my clients understand, that they know, is that social media is literally a baby. It's a baby right now. There's not really enough um, evidence to really show how consistent algorithms are. Algorithms change at the drop of a hat all the time. They even change sometimes depending on who even owns the app. For example, Twitter is a good example. It completely shifted a lot of its different values and narratives after Elon Musk bought the app. So those things can change a lot at like the drop of a hat. YouTube makes different claim policies all the time on different ways that you can monetize. It's just not super consistent yet. And it's a little bit risky because algorithms change and things like that. But you can still make sure to connect with your audience through your contact list as well. So when you're kind of building out your email list and things like that, you can also use your website as well. So you can make a quick little pop-up box on Squarespace or Wix or WordPress and say, hey, subscribe to our newsletter, or hey, can I have your contact information to join our list? Because people will join your list. It's a completely easy way for people to willingly, consent to, hey, you can reach out to me. It's your customer letting you know, hey, please reach out to me with any updates on anything. So that could be QR codes whenever you have networking events too. I'm sure some of you probably already do that already. Website sign up forms, customer opt-ins, things like that during sales or transactions. Like for example, whenever I go to H&M and they say, hey, can I have your email to kind of get you into our system, things like that. Don't be afraid of it. Just feel free to ask. If they say no, then they say no. But at least that way you then have that option to kind of just sit there and say, hey, I'm opening up the floor for me to contact you. Is that okay? You can use things like MailChimp, Converter Kit. Clavio is also another one as well, where you can also automate these things too. Because I'm sure kind of as I'm talking through all of this information, you're like, I don't have the time to do any of that. A lot of those things you can kind of automate over time. You just kind of need to take a good afternoon, a good evening, good day if you have it, to kind of set these things in motion. Especially when it comes to email. That's pretty easy to start automating. And of course, the platforms I listed will be able to assist you for any questions. I also have videos about those platforms and how to navigate them and things like that for you all too. If you want a bit of a quicker engagement, because again, we're always on our phones and I don't really touch my email unless it's about work. So you could also reach out to your audience with SMS messaging or texting as well. I know Constant Contact also allows you to do both, and I believe Mailchimp does as well. A lot of these email platforms that I've mentioned often let you do both. Constant Contact is also another good one that we use. Simple texting is also great too. So that's good for like reminders or order updates, or that can be really great for networking events if you're a vendor, things like that. So just wanted to touch base on that too. And then this is kind of like my favorite slide because a lot of people I feel like forget this part because we're so digital all the time. I'm pretty young, I'm 25, but I do like to be in person and do things in person and see people and kind of get out the house every once in a while. So this is like your kind of way to in-person market if you think of it that way. Collaborate, show up with each other. If you guys know that you guys are like in like a similar industry, so for example, like a bakery teaming up with a coffee shop or things like that. I've seen things like that happen. Get into your communities, tap into each other, tap into one another. If you know that another business that you're working with is a similar industry and they have a brick and mortar, that is wonderful. That allows you, someone who might have been doing this in their home, to have a brick and mortar for a second and then be able to sell your products and talk to people. They could put a face to a name too. A lot of people and a lot of things that I've like discovered as far as small businesses have often been in person. The Berwyn shops, for example, that was a great way for those businesses to have like a great brick and mortar and I could physically meet them in person. So be sure to try to partner and collaborate with other business owners that are in the area because it can also expand your reach. For example, if I know the coffee shop but I don't know the bakery and I walk into the coffee shop and I'm like, oh, great, this bakery is here. I never met you guys before. Now it's a great opportunity to meet. You can also attend or sponsor local events, expos, networking meetups, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard all this year network, network, network. But seriously, having that type of community is really, really important. Because then on top of that, also between business owners, you guys can kind of discuss different things. Hey, this is working for my business. How's this working for you? Oh, that didn't really work, but I tried this instead. There's so much that can breed from physical conversation that I think we kind of lost a bit over the course of the years since about 2020. I'll get off my soapbox about that though. Won't say too much on that part. But even just like when you're posting while you're there, when you participate, share those photos, share those videos, and post like that and tag the other company or organizations, maybe even tag your local chamber. I'm sure they might even stop by to just like broaden your visibility so that way everyone knows who you are. And just like I was stating before, showing up both online and offline, that creates that community trust. People see you, they say, okay, great. I've seen your work. It looks fantastic. I'll put in the time. A lot of people put in a lot of time and effort into their own personal communities all the time. So I could tell you I have plenty. So that way it also feels authentic as well. So very, very important. And then we're going to move ahead here to keeping your brand consistent. This is super, super important. And once you just take the time, again, a day, an afternoon, an evening, once you really like take the time to get everything consistent, it makes everything so much easier moving forward. If you have to do like a partnership and they say, hey, we need your logo in black, white, and gray, well, you don't have it because you didn't sit down to make like a consistent logo, or it gets kind of tricky because then you have two different versions of logos to send out. You want to make sure that you're keeping everything consistent across the board so everything looks neat and clean and professional. So it also helps people recognize things. They've only changed that Coca-Cola bottle maybe what, less than 10 times because they want to keep it consistent. Their branding is consistent, right? When we look at these big corporations, their branding for the most part stays the same. It might change over a few years, but you see it doesn't change too much where things are inconsistent. So you want to use the same colors, fonts, tone across all platforms so that way everything is cohesive. Cohesion is the key here. And you want to make a small brand kit that kind of includes your logo, your color palette, any shows and fonts that you pick, your design style, whatever your kind of like vibe is, and maybe like a short few taglines to kind of keep ahead so that way if you need to use them for any marketing, then you can. And of course, you can use, I'm sure you guys have probably heard of it before. Canvas Brand Kit is pretty great. Colors.co is also pretty solid too. I like the way how they automate things, and it's a bit more user friendly, a bit less learning with Canva. With Canva, you kind of do have to learn a couple of things, watch a couple of YouTube videos to get a good gist on how to make it look good. But again, I have videos on that too that I can assist you guys with. And that way, it makes it easier for when you have to make promotional material, flyers, t-shirts, hats, whatever you're using for your promotional material. It's so consistent because everything stays the same because you took the time to make a quick little brand kit. So it doesn't take too long. If you just create a nice creative mindset and just kind of go at it. But that's something that's super, super important as well to keep everything looking professional and neat and clean. And then we'll jump into a couple of big bads here. So these are just some common mistakes to avoid, sorry, that I kind of see a lot of small business owners doing when they first start. And like I said in the beginning, this is going to be some trial and error. So you want to kind of minimize as many bumps as you can. So I'll let you know a couple of bumps that you should avoid. So that's going to be no clear call to action. Even though it might seem like to you, well, yeah, of course, buy my product. That's the next call to action. Or book with me. That's the next call to action. You would be surprised that not adding those types of call to action confuses people. And it's really important to kind of have like some sort of call to action to something. Book with me here, connect with me here. So that way there's like a follow through. Like I said, with that whole streamlined process, the third step should be whatever that call to action is. Um, so if that's booking with you, whatever the case may be, that should be stated somewhere in your website, in a post, in a flyer, things like that to kind of push people to that next step. And then, like I said before, inconsistent visuals or messaging. Messaging is also a really big thing. That's important to your brand. Everything with your brand should be succinct, and you should kind of already have an understanding on what your persona or what your brand is and keeping it consistent. If you don't know, that's a bit of a different thing, which you can talk to me about. Info at the end. But you should be able to kind of have the same look and the same tone. If it changes, people really won't understand what it is. They won't understand what your branding is. They won't understand what your business is. So all of that is super, super important. Posting without purpose, doing stuff kind of willy-nilly. People can tell when you're just trying to fill the space or just post something just to post something. You want to kind of post with a bit of purpose. So like I said, you want to be sure to educate or connect or sell, whatever the case may be. That's also going to be really important for what I was saying before about not having your personal and your business connected to each other. So that way you're not just kind of posting you and your friends out at a party or things like that. That doesn't have anything to do with your business. So you want to make sure that you have those things separate, like I said before. And when you separate them, make sure that you're posting with a purpose. And like I also have mentioned before, ignoring those analytics. That's a big thing. Your analytics are so important. They tell you what proper decisions to make. Hey, I want to raise my marketing budget. Should I? Take a look at your marketing analytics for all of your platforms and your website and your social media and say, well, I think my marketing's actually doing pretty good, doing pretty good numbers. Maybe I don't have to spend $500 to $1,000 or whatever the case may be. Or actually, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be going on Instagram because my demographics over there don't really match my ideal customer. Maybe I should jump over to LinkedIn because that's kind of where I want to be at. Your numbers get better, they get stronger, and you make more informed decisions kind of as you move forward. Oh, a lot of my audience is mainly downtown Chicago. Okay, maybe I should start having like a little pop-up shop there as opposed to the Chicago suburbs because there's just not that many of my clientele over there. All those things are super, super important to know. So that's really, really important. I do have some videos on analytics, or we could chit chat about analytics. We shall see at the end of the presentation. And then, of course, neglecting those updates too. Please be sure that everything is updated and nothing is outdated and that everything shows as it should. Again, that phone number, that name, and that address should all be updated if you've moved or changed anything. Because the moment that something does not seem right, I am moving on to the next one. There's so many different some businesses out there right now. Everyone is fighting for their shot to get customers. You do not want to be straggling behind because you didn't update a really important area of your business, like a phone number or an email. So just a couple quick things to avoid. Just want to let you guys know. And then quick wins that you guys can kind of do this week. Because for me personally, I think everyone learns different. I'm a very action-based person. Okay, now that we've had this conversation, what am I going to do? So, some things that you could probably do today if you have time, or this week if you have time, claim or update your business, your Google Business profile if you already have one, or if you don't have one yet, claim it. And make sure that that info is correct and it's complete and it's done and you're on Google. You can do that in probably a couple of hours, depending. Probably a couple of hours or so, especially if you already have a brick and mortar, you can get verified pretty quickly. And then, of course, we're going to make sure we're going to check all of our contact info across all of our platforms, and of course, update anything that might not be consistent. And try to post one meaningful update that kind of adds value or shows your work. That again, that could be the behind the scenes videos, that could be educational and quick tips. That could even be like maybe the story of your business if you like, whatever the case may be, to kind of um, work in a proper post for you to make. And then you make more posts and then you move on, so on and so forth. And then send out one email or one message to someone that reconnects, uh, like to reconnect with your audience or share an update. That could be a client that you just reached out to. That could be a potentially new client if you'd like to, things like that. It's just really important to try to connect and reconnect with your audience to make sure that you still have an audience and that your audience is there and say, hey, I'm still here. And then ask for one new review. I know that's kind of hard for some people to do because they get like a little shy. They go, okay, well, I don't want it to be a bad review. I say jump for it, jump for a leap, go for a recent partner or customer that like really, really liked what you put together. You can even ask them after they give you, words of praise and they say, hey, your product was really great or your service was really great. You could quickly ask right there, hey, would you be willing to give me like a quick little statement through a video, through text, so I can put it on my website as a positive review? Yeah, absolutely. Or put a QR code if you would like. That's fine. That links you to your business profile, so that way they can just put a review right there on your Google profile. And then of course, like just small, consistent actions really, really hold up over time. When it comes to visibility, I know that oftentimes as a entrepreneur, you are very, very busy, often a one man or one woman band, but just try to make those small changes throughout the time and kind of build up a proper schedule to create that stronger visibility because you're putting in all of this work, but nobody can see you. And if nobody can see you, then it defeats the purpose of the business, doesn't it? So we have to make sure that we're doing these little small consistent things over time. So that way people can find you and see your great work that you put a lot of time and money into. So we're going to wrap up here. Just a quick wrap up. Of course, visibility isn't about being everywhere, guys. Please, please don't forget that. It's about being findable, incredible, and consistent. That's what they're looking for because every brand new customer that sees you as a brand new baby business does not know all the things that you're capable of yet, even though you're capable of a bunch of different things. So that's really what that visibility is about. Start small, focus on those basics, try to learn how to do them well, learn a couple of videos on different platforms like Squarespace, Canva, Wix, things like that to kind of keep your basics good to go. And then that's going to create that great foundation for you to learn more from there. Okay, I learned how to make a logo on Canva. What about a flyer? Hmm, what about this other promotional material? Okay, I made a pretty basic website on WordPress or on Wix. What more can I do here? How can I make it look a little bit more flashy? You learn kind of as you stack, your one-on-ones, one-on-twos, one-on-threes, and so forth. Stay intentional and update regularly. I know it kind of gets hard, um, especially if you're doing everything to track things like that because you're probably focused on providing the service or the product to your business first. But try to like snap a quick picture whenever you're making anything. If you make a product, uh, grab any quick behind the scenes, just make a nice update. Hey, we're doing this pop-up today, things like that, and kind of monitor and track what works well for you. For example, like I said, if you're a consultant-based business, you might not do that great with video content. What would you record necessarily? Or if you're a chef and you only been making still photos of your restaurant pictures, maybe we should move to some video content. Figure out what works, check your analytics. Google is a great, great, great friend in explaining said analytics to you. Specifically on Google Business Profile, they will explain your SEO and your analytics to you, and they'll also make recommendations on where's the kind of best way to go with that? Because the goal is to build a business that's not seen, but is trusted. That's what visibility is. It's not me seeing you, it's me also trusting you and saying, okay, I'm going to come back to you again and you're going to provide me what I asked for, what I paid for. Okay, all right, I trust you. That's pretty much really what you're looking for. So that's everything I have. This is my information here. Feel free to shoot me an email. We can talk about any of the videos, if you want the video playlist, if you say, hey, Cheyenne, I'm more of a documentation type of learner. Can you make a document for me that kind of summarizes? I can do that too. I also have, documents about everything I spoke about today. So I will open for questions. I'm going to check the chat out here. And I see we have a couple of questions. Possibly. Okay. Does anyone have any questions while we're on Q&A
I have a
here?
question, Cheyenne.
Yes. Feel free, Mercedes.
I have two questions. So I
Mhm.
know you covered a lot about social
Yeah.
media, about being consistent in particular. It's also important. What are your thoughts and how would you maybe advise a business owner to approach using AI to assist with this kind of content creation?
Yes. So here's the thing. I won't be on my soapbox too long about AI. I just say don't use too much of it. I have seen businesses kind of create their entire thing based off of AI. This is more of an unpopular opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of it too much, especially because again, if everything is AI generated and I need to see a real physical, like let's say for example, Mercedes, you have an absolutely amazing matcha shop. Your matcha's super cute. I love the branding. Everything was made with AI. Okay, great. I see that. I need to see what the matcha actually looks like. Is this actually good matcha? Because I'm sure if you've seen a TikTok where they're like, oh, come to this new matcha shop in Chicago, you're looking on the inside like, oh, that's really cute. Oh, the matcha's really cute, but it's real, and that's really important. I would say that you probably could get away, depending on your industry, with some more AI usage kind of building you up, where it's not going to be reliable on those images. Like if you're in food, if you do nails, if you do hair, if you do anything where I need to physically see your work for me to trust you, I do not recommend that you do that. You might be able to make a couple of quick prompts, say, hey, this is my business. I kind of want to figure out what vibe it's for. That's fine. I think you could definitely make some back end foundational things, like maybe like your branding kit, maybe your logo, maybe brand names, which is you name your business, things like that. But as far as like a physical picture where that's really going to make the difference, I would not advise. Sometimes if it's too much AI, it looks like a fake business. So you kind of have to be careful and do things a bit more internally with AI as opposed to externally. I don't want to see on a big billboard an AI generated image of a company that I'll think, hey, so that company doesn't really exist then, because I'm not seeing any real. You can use a stock photo if you want. I'd rather you use stock photos over AI, if that makes sense. Um, so I won't be on my soapbox too long. I know I'm fine with it, but to a certain extent. To a certain extent.
No, that is, a good mix is very helpful and also helps people that maybe need a little bit of a hand there just to get some stuff out. I have one more question, final question for you.
Sure.
You are a business advisor through the Cook County Small Business Source, working obviously through Chicago MSDC. Why, in your opinion, as a business advisor, is it helpful for business owners to take part in this amazing free resource that we offer?
Oh my goodness, there's 1,000 reasons why, but I will share a couple of really quick ones because oftentimes business owners they work so deep within their business that they're not asking the proper questions. There's not someone there to say, hey, well, let's take a look at your finances. Do you have X, Y, and Z? You're having a staffing issue. Do you have X, Y, and Z in place? There's a lot of things that business owners don't really think about because they kind of focus on, okay, I know how to make tacos really, really well. I'm just going to keep making tacos. But no, there's so much more that goes into your business, into those grants, into that financial education, into marketing education, because you really only know what your business is built upon for the most part. Sometimes people do come from corporate to do small business ownership, but for the most part, you really know what your business is about, not about the actual inner workings of how to keep your business to standard and to code and to things like that. And then not only also that, but you get a network to not only like, for example, just me, you get a network of literally a bunch of other different organizations that you can work with. Oh, Cheyenne, I love working with you, but you're not that close. I'm actually over in Southland. Guess who can help you? Southland Development can help you. They are great. They are right there. I love them. I'll send them my way. Send them your way, for example. There's just so many different resources that you can tap into that you can learn how to do. You learn about new opportunities, for example. The Berwyn shops, for example, were another great one. Hey, I have a brick and mortar. I don't know what to do. I need a brick and mortar. Well, don't I have a good program for you? Like, there's just so many different things and so many different avenues that you can assist with, whether that's like talking with someone one on one and saying, I just have to get this out. Should I be doing things this way? No, we have to do this a different way. So there's a litany of different reasons, but I saw a
Love
hand
it.
raised. Cole raised her hand.
Yes, that was mine.
Hi,
Hello.
hi. Hello.
So I have a question about the same thing that Mercedes mentioned when you were talking about inconsistent visuals or messaging. And mine was mostly like, when you're talking about that, can you speak more into like what the consistency was that you were talking about? Like, is it format? Is it colors? Is it the scheme of the poster graphics? Just
Hmm.
because I was wondering, like, do you not want to avoid like the copying and pasting of your general posts,
Hmm.
or are you inviting that one?
Yes. So here's the thing when it comes to branding. Branding does have to stay consistent within your brand, if that makes sense. So, for example, let's say that you're a super soft, pillowy, maybe it's a bit more minimalist, maybe you do skincare. I should not be seeing anything grungy or punk rock, for example, in your branding or in your messaging, or the font shouldn't look super crazy. I'm expecting clean and soft and things like that because you want certain feelings and certain vibes, if you will, to be synonymous with your brand. For example, like when I think of Hello Kitty, I'm a really big Hello Kitty Sanrio fan, if anyone else is. I'm thinking soft, cute, plushy. I should not be seeing anything outside of that realm. And if you notice, if you even look at, like, you can take a look at any other corporation's branding, it's pretty consistent. You always see Hello Kitty and something really cute. There's always that same font. I'm sure if I probably pop up the Hello Kitty font, you'd be like, that's right there. Because you really want them to kind of think, oh, okay, that's so and so. I like that brand. That works out well. Or whenever I look at Chanel or Coach, all I have to see is two C's faced away from each other. That's Chanel.
Mhm.
I know Chanel. You want to have that, you want to have that memory that locks in because it literally stays with you. Again, I'm sure if I put up any sort of luxury brand, you're going to go, yeah, that's Dior. You know, whether Dior is on there or not. So you want your brand to be consistent because you pretty much want to get to a point where people will be able to remember you, your product, things like that, without even needing to know the name. Oh, I already know who that is. That's Dior. That's Chanel. That's Brandon Brewer. That's Telfar. You can pop up the Telfar logo right now. I'm going to know exactly who that is. You can probably take it off the leather bag, and I'm going to go, that's a Telfar, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, I know it is. So it's really, really important that you have that branding across everywhere, whether that's physical or online, so that way it keeps the memory there, if that makes sense. You want people to remember you and be consistent. Of
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
course, of course, of course, of course. Any other questions or anything? I'll pop my email in the chat. Or any other questions?
To say we are at time and I don't see any
Indeed.
other questions. I do want to thank you, Cheyenne, for this amazing presentation. It's very thorough, in-depth kind of discussion about how to launch your business. I know it's going to be really helpful for a lot of those that were on the call today. And then also just a reminder, we did record this webinar session. We record each and every webinar Wednesday. Drop in the chat right now. You are more than welcome, and we encourage you to catch up, rewatch, study these webinars, and you can do so on our YouTube channel. Last but not least, I know we had mentioned this at the start, and I'll just, close this out with the same message here. The source is available for each and every small business owner in Cook County, whether you're just getting started, whether you're more established. We definitely want you to take advantage of this amazing free, no cost to you resource that's available. And you can work with some amazing business advisors such as Cheyenne, such as Chicago MSDC throughout our network. And we really appreciate everyone for joining us today. So thank you all.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Cool. Okay, thank you. See ya.
Bye, bye,
Thank
bye.
you.